Hello and welcome to another episode of Into the Podcast. My name's Sam and I am hosting today with the beautiful Ryan. Say hello, Ryan.
Hello.
How are you, my good friend?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm a bit scared for today, mate.
Always a bit scary, a bit spooky.
Scary. Oh, we're going to talk about horrors.
We are talking about horror.
Oh, how exciting. So, as we mentioned in the last episode, we do try and record these episodes all together, a few in a day. So it is a couple of days before Halloween for us, and it's probably going to be 2024 by the time you hear this, like March or something.
Yeah.
So it's well out of sync for you, but we've been playing, watching, enjoying a bit of horror, getting all spooky.
Getting
and
in the
scary.
Halloween season.
Went out, got our pumpkins made, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I actually went pumpkin picking this year from
Yeah?
a farm, properly pumpkin picking.
Ooh.
First time.
How many did you get?
3.
Nice. Big uns?
2 big ones and a little cute one.
No.
Yeah, one big white one big orange one, and a little cute one.
I went 2 little cute orange, 1 little cute white, and then a white and orange and a green.
A green.
Yeah, and I
Nice.
didn't carve any of them. I just shoved them outside.
I've seen, though, they look good, your little pumpkin
And
patch.
a little pumpkin patch out front. Yeah. So
but that means you're going to have to have trick-or-treaters, though. That's
Yeah,
the,
that's the
that's
fucker,
the
innit?
etiquette, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, if you've got your pumpkins on show, you're fair game.
Bastard. Well, I won't be because I'll just go out.
Yeah.
I'll leave it to my
Yeah.
housemate to do it.
Yeah, no, fair. I mean, we lock the doors, turn all the lights off, close the curtains.
And throw water at anyone that knocks on the door.
Yeah. And enjoy our lovely carved pumpkins in the privacy of our own home.
Away from people.
Yeah.
So we're calling this episode a horror episode, not a Halloween episode, because it's not Halloween for you guys. So I hope you had a good Halloween, whatever
Yeah.
you did, and you got lots of candy and spooky treats. So Ryan, what do you want to do in this episode? What should we do for horror?
We'll start with, as always, I want us to get into our snack item of the week.
Oh shit! Yeah, well reminded. I brought snack. So
A themed one as
a
well.
themed snack. So I've got a big, massive bag. Have a listen. Of spectacularly spooky bats and ghost pickled onion flavored snacks, my friend.
Very nice.
Are you a pickled onion crisp fan?
I am, yeah.
A big Monster Munch?
Monster Munch, yeah, it's the jam. Although Flaming Hot is
100%.
the flavour.
Yeah, yeah. It's you don't get many pickled onion crisps.
No,
No,
no. And I don't think I've ever had a pickled onion.
no, I haven't either.
No.
Or a pickled egg.
No, I don't really get it.
No, I don't understand it either. People are weird.
What? Yeah, I don't understand anything about it. It kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Eat the fucking crisp.
Okay, sorry. Oh, it's even in the shape of a little bat.
Yeah, mate. Little bats and ghosts.
Yeah, this is cute.
Once again, we will share our picture of our random snacks for no reason at all.
They're good.
They're good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're so light.
They're so light and fluffy, yet they're so moreish. And this is a massive bag. It takes a while to get through, and you feel sick after a whole bag, but it's doable because I've done it.
Yeah, I kind of feel sorry for everyone listening because throughout this entire episode, it's all we're going to hear is a crunching of these crisps right in your ear.
Like last week, 2 weeks ago, when we had the nerds, and you just spent the whole time sucking your own teeth.
Yeah,
because
but they
horrible.
were awful. They were awful. Whereas these are good. I'm going to be having these all episode.
Probably shouldn't have done such a big bowl, should I?
Well,
Once again, the snacks are brought to you in my daughter's unicorn bowl
so cute.
because, you know, it might get too scary and we need a magical unicorn to save us.
Definitely.
Okay, so I think we should start this episode by just talking about horror in general, what it means to you. So horror is big to me. I love horror. I don't know why, because 98% of horror films are bullshit. There's nothing good anymore. But I get so excited when I find one that I go, that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you find something that is genuinely creepy, scary, got a good meaning behind it. It doesn't happen very often, but I'm always on the hunt for this.
Yeah.
I know, which is something we'll chat about in a minute, but I know you're big into like Resident Evil, so the more horror type games.
Yeah, I suppose like your survival horror type games are.
What about books? I know you're a bit of a reader. Do you read many horror books?
I've never really got into horror books, you know. I'm a terrible reader anyway.
Okay.
Like I just don't have the patience for it. I'll get halfway through a book and then I'll just stop reading it.
Me too.
I do listen to my audiobooks.
Oh,
Obviously the drive to
audiobook.
work's quite long for me.
Yeah.
But I've not actually branched out into the horror genre.
Okay.
I don't know how I'd feel, you know, like driving to work first thing in the morning. Do I really want a horror book on? Maybe now the nights are drawing in on the way home might be quite cool, a bit creepy, a bit spooky. I might try that, give it a listen. Like things like Stephen King, you know, like the classics.
Yeah.
I've
of course.
never Never really read any of them, but you know.
No, I'm the same. I think the last one I read was Bird Box.
Oh yeah.
Way after the film came out, I kept reading. Everyone's going, the book's way better, and I'm not a reader at all. I've read like 10 books in my life. Half of them were at school. I Spot the Dog and that. You know? They're not as creepy as you think. Yeah, exactly. So I read it, and I'll be honest with you, the book was exactly the same as the film with a slightly different ending. So it's still good because I really enjoyed the film Bird Box anyway.
I've still not seen it.
Have you not?
No.
You see, I don't know what it is. It's not great by any sense of the word. Sandra Bullock fit.
Yeah.
It's always good. But yeah, there's something about it I enjoyed. I really liked the concept of it. The book was quite good, slightly different ending, but yeah, other than that, I did start reading I Am Legend.
I Am Legend, yeah.
I Am Legend. I did start reading that, and I don't know where I put the book. Because obviously the book's vampires, isn't it? Not weird zombies.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I did start that, and then fuck knows what I did with the book. But it's not even a big book. That's why I thought I'd do it.
Yeah.
But not enough pictures in it. And it's not pop-up either. And I like pop-up books.
Difficult.
Yeah. So what does horror mean to you, Ryan?
I'm same as you. Like, I do love horror. I sort of have a love-hate relationship with horror because I do like my horror films, but they're not something I'll just stick on randomly. Like, for a lot of people, horror's like comfort, isn't it? They'll like watching. They'll just stick a film on just to feel safe, I guess, which is a bit weird. I guess it's the opposite. But I watch a horror film to get scared.
Oh, me too.
And I'm not ashamed to say that I do get scared. You know, like horror films freak me out. Not enough to not watch them, but I suppose I see the point of horror as to be scared. You know, you want to be feeling those emotions a little bit. But then they do stick with me then. So then it's one case of, okay, if you watch one of those films, it freaks you out, it's spooky, and then for the rest of the night or the next few days, I'll be leaving the light on all the time, or you know, not checking behind the shower curtain, and not looking in the mirror in case someone stood behind me. So they do stick with me a little bit.
Yeah, it's weird, because I'm so sort of numb to it that things like, leaving the light on. Now, I'll be honest, when I played Resident Evil Bioshock 7, that isn't it? When I played that for the first time, I played it on VR.
Oh, God.
And it was the scariest experience I've ever had.
Yeah.
I had to leave the light on, the landing light on, because I couldn't be, honestly, I was that terrified. But I'm really weird. So, like, things don't stick with me. I find horror very boring these days, unfortunately. It's more about gore and jump scares. In fact, it's not even about the jump scares anymore. It's the, when they open a mirror and it's like, oh, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And then they close it and then there's someone there. So like the second jump scare, it's like, where we know that's basically what you do now because jump scares got boring. But I am really weird in the aspect of, so up until recently I worked in a prison, and walking around that at night, I used to shit myself.
What do you think that's about?
I don't know. Weird. Being on your own in an old, it was not a Victorian prison at all, but it's just an old, shitty, horrible building.
Yeah.
All the pipes are creaking and horrible. And I have this thing about looking out a window in the dark and seeing someone looking back at me.
Like in the window, or like down on the street, or
Both.
like.
So in right in your face, that's jump scare.
Yeah.
So to me, yeah. But for me, it's the looking. So for example, when I used to walk down, say, the wing, you'd look out the window, there'd be a courtyard, and the opposite side of the courtyard is the adjacent landing, which the light would randomly turn on because a bit of dust or whatever, and then I'd be like, oh shit. So I purposely wouldn't look out the window.
Yeah.
Thinking that I'd look over and look out this other window and there's someone looking back at me.
Yeah. It's like the classic horror shot, isn't it? That you see in a film, like the old school, like, well, the good ones, I suppose. Like I suppose throw back to like the original Halloween, where you've got like Laurie like looking out from, I don't know, babysitting, and there's just Mike Myers just across the street, just looking in through the window.
Yeah,
it's not a jump scare, but
it's terrifying.
It's terrifying, yeah, and I totally agree. They're the things that get me most in the horror films. It's not the jump scares because they're done in an instant, and you can feel the build up to them. Something jumps out; it's really loud. You can't help but be shocked because
of how loud and
because you're going to jump at that, even if it's in a non-horror film.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're the ones that freak me out as well. Where the idea that people are watching you, or like a character's just doing like mundane tasks, like, I don't know, maybe doing the washing up, and someone stood behind and watching them. They're the things that freak me out.
Yeah. So I really enjoy. So, for example, I'm not even sure if you class it as a horror. I suppose it is. Did you watch Midsummer?
I've not seen it. The Florence Pugh
Ari Aster film.
Yeah.
So I really wasn't into Hereditary when I saw it at the cinema. I thought it was absolute dog shit, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Rewatched it later, loved it, and I was like, oh, actually, Ari Aster's got something going here. Midsummer, to me, is a brilliant horror in the aspect it is just so slow paced that the build up is just slow, so you've got time to take in how fucked up everything is.
Yeah.
And because it's such a so Hereditary was dark, scary, everything. There's something in the corner of the room. You know it's a shape. You know there's something there, but you can't quite figure it out because you're like, what is that? Because it's dark. Whereas Midsummer was very bright and it was all in like some Scandinavian, like lovely land and very cultish and stuff. And so everything that was going on really sort of fried your brain because you haven't got the scares of it being dark.
Yeah.
And the I thought things like that are brilliant to me. Psychologically get in your head, like, what is going on? It's a terrifying experience. If you was there, what would you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love stuff like that.
And I think, like, you've touched on something there. I think that's like, I suppose that's what horror films need to do now because they've been done to death. I mean, there is thousands, like hundreds of thousands of horror films. Like, that they seem to be your go-to B, C, D movies who just do a crappy horror film. But because they've been done to death, it's hard to do something new. So when they do something like that, like Midsummer, where it goes against everything you'd expect from a horror, it's not dark, it's not spooky, it's not in this horrific place. A similar one would be A Quiet Place.
Oh, God.
Because, normally you get your jump scares from the dark, something jumping out of the dark, or it's all really like spooky and horrible. But again, that's a similar one because the monsters are attracted to sound in that. And the idea is the characters have to be quiet throughout to stop these horrific monsters coming for them.
That film is terrifying.
Yeah, and because suddenly it just becomes like the most basic task, like they're just doing something, but they drop like a plate or that's something easily done that we wouldn't even think about. It could be a beautiful sunny day and they do that, and then, oh my God, the suspense. You just sat in shock and awe, like, oh my God.
And all they did was drop a plate.
Yeah, it was just, that's just cool because it flips the genre on its head.
Massively. And when you think the two, like, worst parts of that film for me is when she stands on the fucking nail and it goes straight into a foot.
Oh, God. It just can't make a sound.
No, and it makes you gut wrench. And then the baby, she gives birth and there's this baby. You can't stop a baby from crying.
Yeah.
And they have to put it in that horrible coffin. So, like, oh, my God, honestly.
Yeah.
And I'm ever since having a kid as well, like, I can't watch shit with kids anymore, which I'll talk about a film in a minute like that, which I spoke to you about. But, so I couldn't, because you're like, shit, this baby's about to be eaten. This baby's about to be ripped apart because it's just crying.
Yeah, there's no understanding.
No. And another one, sort of, I spoke to you about it and you've seen it, Cargo, which is very under the radar. Not many people seen Cargo.
Yeah.
Zombie film. I'm all down for the classic zombie, Dracula, like them type of monsters. A zombie film with, what's his name?
Martin Freeman,
which you just don't expect in this sort of film. In the outbacks of Australia, which again, you don't expect that to be a setting. And the whole story is he's been bitten. He's going to turn into a zombie, but he has a baby. So he needs to find someone in this world where everyone's just killing each other to try to survive, to look after his baby before he turns into a zombie.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So that's a horror film, but the whole way through it, you just want to cry. Because it's not scary. There's a couple of jump scares, but...
It's not about that, is it?
No. And how you can use a horror genre, but take the horror out of it and make it more about... that emotion, it's so cleverly done, and not a lot of people seen that film. No. I'll push it on. I struggle with it now. I've rewatched it since, like, having a little, and oh God, I just want to bawl the whole way through it because you just think, what would I do?
Yeah,
I need to find someone to look after my daughter.
And I think that's what's good about that film. It makes you ask those questions, don't it? Like, oh shit, what would I do in that situation?
Exactly.
Or that one makes you think. So I suppose it sticks with you in that sense. It's not just another generic run of the mill. Oh, zombies are just going to eat me, and like, let's, we've all run through a zombie scenario in our heads, haven't we? We've all thought, right, where would we go in a zombie apocalypse?
Yeah.
But, you never really ask yourself those tough questions of, okay, what would I do if a family member was bitten, or if I was bitten, how I'm going to take care of people?
Yeah.
Because I guess you don't want to, really, because it's not very nice. It's horrible.
So morbid.
What a horrible thought. But I suppose the whole horror genre is quite morbid anyway, isn't it?
Oh,
fascination with death and gore and scaring. And it's all, like, I suppose, what would be once upon a time taboo subjects.
Oh, 100%. What would you say your favourite horror would be then. And I'm going to put this across a lot of spectrums. So if you want to give a film, a game, and something else, or if you just like, no, survival horror games are my jam, like what would you put up there as in some of your favorites?
I mean, definitely survival horror games I'm big into. Like, you know, currently I'm smashing through the Resident Evil games.
Big time.
Yeah, like I love that. Like Resident Evil 1, you know, it's an old game. It's like 1996 it came out, remastered in 2002. So, you know, and I only recently got into it. It's been on my list for ages, but just having the guts to tackle it, really.
I completed it 2 days ago, Ryan.
I know, yeah.
You've completed it 83 times.
I know, yeah.
I completed it for the first time 2 days ago.
And it's just a great game. It's spooky. And I love that transition. You start off as these survivors that have no clue, really. You have limited awareness, or you have no idea what's going on, and you have to find your way and solve these puzzles. And by the end of it, you become a little bit more. I suppose I like the development of the characters, which you get in your horror films as well. You know, like these terrified survivors that by the end they're badass. You know, they've evolved. The ones that have survived anyway. And I suppose I like that transition from, in the face of adversity, people can come through and be tougher and more badass for it.
More badassery. We all love badassery.
Yeah,
don't we?
yeah. And then, like, obviously, so I finished 1 and 2 now in Resident Evil, about to start Resident Evil 3, the remakes, that is.
Of course.
Yeah. And they're just fun. Again, the jump scares still get me. So they're probably, but I don't play like exclusively survival horror, and there's so many of those games out there. Like I never played the Alien one, Alien Isolation, is it?
I know a few people that played that and it terrified them.
Yeah, because again, you're helpless in that. You can't do anything. And I said, you know, in the last episode, how the Alien was my number one villain.
Yeah.
So suddenly you've got a game that's all about this one horrific villain trying to kill you, and you can't do anything to fight it off. I think you can maybe throw a couple of things to get it, you know, to stun it a little bit, but that's it. You are literally running for your life.
There was, it's quite big at one point, The Evil Within. I think a couple of them come out.
I've got them. I played the first one, but I didn't complete it. It's just, they're not nice worlds to go into. So I think if you lose interest, it's hard to pick it back up and get into them.
I agree, yeah.
It's not just something like, oh, let's just put Rocket League on or Minecraft because it's nice. It's a nice world to go into. I definitely, as for a horror genre, I have to be in the mood for it. I think.
Definitely. For games, like I say, films, I do just love them. And if I'm looking for a film, I'm always flicking, especially, you know, like I'm single, but if I have a female around, or you're going, oh, should we watch a film? I always just go to horror immediately. I don't know what that is. It's just kind of like, I don't know, come here. So, good luck, I'll save you from the scary monster, even though I'm probably more scared
absolute
than they
hero.
Are. Yeah, I'm shitting myself.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That just seems to be my go-to on that. Have you ever, I did tell you to watch it, and I can't remember if you said you have. You ever seen a film called The Babadook?
I haven't, no.
My all-time favourite horror. In fact, it's up there with some of my favourite films.
Wow, okay.
It's just really, there's nothing overly special to it. And if you watch it as maybe not so much a film fan, it is just about a woman and a son. She reads this book. It's quite fucked up. It's all like hand drawn, and it's about this creepy monster called the Babadook. And then the Babadook like becomes real, and you start scaring it. But the whole underline of that film is basically about a single mother trying to deal with being a parent, and all this shit is all psychological, and the stress and the depression and the anxiety of being a single mother trying to be the best for a son. We all love that. We all love a film with a great underlying, like, you know, meaning behind it.
Yeah.
And the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, I like what they've done there. Back then, I didn't watch film. I wasn't interested in film. I wasn't bothered. And I went, okay, I can see something in this. Rewatched it later when I was more into film, and I was like, shit, what a great idea.
Yeah.
Like, because it's one of these, it's not too hidden that you've got to be really into it and pay a lot of attention to understand there's more to it than just a monster. But there's a little bit more into it that you've got to search for it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not that type of snobby person that looks for meaning in every film. Most films are just films to me.
Yeah.
But this one is just, I just love it. And it was I can't remember the director's name, Jennifer something, but it was her first ever film as well.
Okay.
And it was just absolutely banging. It's out of this whole, like, you know, conversation, this whole episode, anyone listening to it, go watch The Babadook. I think it's on like BBC iPlayer or something like
Okay.
that randomly.
Well,
It's
yeah.
just such a good low budget film.
Yeah.
First, like I said, director's first film. It's just so good.
Yeah.
A lot
I'll
more to
definitely
it.
check it out. I suppose for me, I guess for horror, for me, it doesn't have to be scary. Like, probably my favorite horror film is Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow.
Not seen that in years. I know
See-
you watched it recently, didn't you?
Yeah, and I absolutely love that. I mean, I love that sort of era, like Johnny Depp, that Tim Burton. Don't get me wrong, I can take or leave Tim Burton at times, but I love that. It's like the gothic horror feel. So, and it's not scary, really. There's a bit of gore, but by today's standard, nothing. It's just like about the Headless Horseman. But I love those sort of classic stories, I guess. I think that's what I'm more drawn to, those supernatural stories that are a bit creepy. I love that the aesthetic, where it's like all spooky in the fog, and like, when you got these old like things like Dracula, the old castles and stuff like that. I love all that side of it. That's sort of stuff that gets me right into the horror genre. It doesn't have to just be a scary film for the sake of it, and that's probably why I love like the Hammer horror stuff.
I was just about to mention like the old school. Hammer
Yeah, I
horror
mean
and-
Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, they're iconic, and I love those. They would be my go-to horror films.
Yes, 100%.
But I must hold my hands up and say there's hundreds of them, and it'd take you a lifetime just to watch them all.
Oh,
but
definitely.
even some of the more iconic ones, like I've not seen Christopher Lee's Dracula. They're on my list. Quite hard to get hold of them these days.
Yeah.
But like The Mummy, Frankenstein, they're all great films, and I love that. And again, they're old, they're like the sort of 60s, 70s films, but they're still great today because they're not just like tacky jump scares for the sake of it or ridiculous gore. There's hardly any gore in any of them, but they're telling these like classic stories.
Oh yeah. Do you think we're missing a trick these days by like not using the old, say, Universal monster type monsters more? Like you're going back to like your 20s, aren't you? Your 1920s.
Yeah.
type. So your Frankenstein monster, your werewolves. Do you think we're missing out on a trick by not using them more?
Maybe it's hard because have they been done to death? How many remakes have we had, like the 20s and maybe the 50s and the 70s, and there's probably been some in the 2000s. I think the problem with most horror films now is everything's just over the top, and a lot of like things like it's just big CGI and it's just ridiculous. Like, I don't know, I've not even watched it, but it just looked terrible. I know it bombed. Like the Tom Cruise's The Mummy film.
Well, that was set up to be something so much different. They were supposed to be doing a whole Universal monsters
Universal,
like universe,
but that was so shit that they didn't bother with it.
which is bad. It's such a shame, isn't it?
I mean, nothing is ever going to beat Brendan Fraser's The Mummy, 1999. Classic film.
Legend.
Absolute legendary film. Maybe that's my ultimate. You class that as horror, I guess. Horror, action, adventure. I suppose that's just a mishmash
Yeah, a bit
of
of all of them, innit?
all of them. It's not an out-and-out horror, but still, you're never going to beat that.
I suppose that's up there. Like you could say that about Raiders of the Lost Ark and shit, couldn't you? Really, like real horror element to what's going down, but it's an action adventure film.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I suppose I do quite like it as well when you get like the horror stuff in like the kids stuff, like as well, like Coraline.
Oh God, I love Coraline.
Such a good film.
Creepy as anything.
Yeah, it's freaking. Say it's a kids' film, that is terrifying.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that. So I suppose the horror elements just can be put to everything. But would I like to see the classic monsters back? Yeah, I think so. But
Yeah,
I just don't know. I just don't know how you do it now, how you'd approach it.
It's hard, isn't it? Because I mean, I look back to. I remember watching as a youth. It was one of my mum's favorite films. Was Interview with a Vampire, and that terrified me. I was so scared growing up of vampires. I just had this big thing of they were real. The pain that you go through being bitten by a vampire.
Yeah.
And even as a kid, I used to think about the pain you'd go through transforming into a vampire yourself, and then what you have to do to other people. It used to terrify me growing up.
Yeah.
Of what vampires, and that was a big thing. But then, what I do quite like, have you watched Day Shift yet on Netflix?
Is that the Jamie
Foxx
Foxx one? I haven't. It's on my list to
brilliant.
watch. Yeah, it looks like ridiculous.
Yeah, and I'm all about that because again, it's about vampires, so it's horror themed, but it's just an action comedy.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx, a bit Blade-esque, that he's just going out in his job is to just kill vampires, take the teeth. The teeth are worth money, basically.
Yeah.
It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
It's one of those, sit at home on a Wednesday night, you're just chilling, you've just had your tea. Stuck the lamp on and a candle because you can, treating yourself. I just want to film with the missus or whatever. It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's just a fun film. And it's got Dave Franco in it as well, who I don't normally like, but he's great in it.
Yeah, it looks good. It does look good fun. I know you said about it before. I definitely will watch it.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how that's a whole other subgenre as well, isn't it? The horror comedy.
Yeah.
And some of those are some of the best films going, let alone horror or comedy. Just like you think Shaun of the Dead is the obvious one. Amazing film. Like Edgar Wright, I absolutely love Edgar Wright. He's one of my favorite directors. It's just genius. Like it just works so well, and that's just something that is a film that I could put on again, and again, and I have done, and I could probably quote it word for word. But yeah, it just, I suppose horror, it's, you can utilize it in so many different formats and so many different ways, can't you?
Definitely. And like you say, you can have something and just add a horror element to it, or you can have a whole horror, as we was talking about with Cargo, have a whole horror background, but remove the horror and insert romance. You can insert emotion in any other way, and it becomes something else that to the horror element is just a back character.
Yeah.
That's why I love horror. There's so much you can do with it. So who would you say would be, I was going to say best horror character. What character would you say is the scariest? So you could just go zombies in general, vampires in general.
Okay.
Or you could particularly pick Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, that sort of thing.
Well, obviously on the last episode I did pick the Alien.
You did.
And I've mentioned that again this episode. So I don't want to talk about the Alien again. We'll talk because, you know, the Alien is terrifying.
Very, very scary.
Again, Jack Torrance I spoke about before. He's terrifying, but in a different way. I suppose that's the more psychological horror stuff. That's a tough one.
Do you know what mine is?
Go on.
In any film, so it's not a particular person, kid ghosts.
Oh,
Get
yeah,
fucked.
I knew you were going to say that.
Don't want kid ghosts. Go away, two little girls from The Shining. Go away, girl from The Ring.
The
Get
girl
away
from The Ring
me.
is the worst thing, actually. That she's the worst one. She freaks me the hell out. The hair dangling down, coming through the TV. When I saw that film, I was quite young, and it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
To the point where I just couldn't look at a telly because I was terrified of like static coming on and then just seeing her face and her crawling out of it. It is horrific.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Anything like, especially like little girl ghosts or, oh yeah,
just get fucked. Yeah. Why are you here?
Just get the fuck away from me. Leave me alone. Like,
I mean, even to the point of, I mean, she's obviously not dead in it, but like Poltergeist, when she gets sucked into the TV and her talking and it's like really reverbed, and you're just like, oh no, oh no, I don't like this. No, not one bit. But obviously, as we just mentioned, the two little girls from The Shining.
From The Shining,
come play with
us forever.
Oh, no, there is no need for that.
No,
there's no need to be that person because you just
run over and boot them in the face and just like.
I don't want to kick a kid.
Yeah. Well, they make me want to, right?
And they're a ghost, so you go straight through them and you fall over and
I
look
like a twat as well. And if I was in The Shining, I'd probably fall over in like the river of blood, and it's just that's never going to come out of this white hoodie, is it?
Of course, it's not, mate. So we're going with little girl ghosts. Then.
Yeah, they can go fuck themselves. Yeah,
it's the scariest thing of all time. Did you ever play the Fear games?
I've seen bits of them, but I've never played them myself.
Fear 3, I think it was. Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Oh. But even down to, it's not even a ghost. It's Resident Evil 1, the film, that little girl who is the AI system.
Yeah, oh yeah.
She's terrifying.
She is, yeah, she's awful, yeah.
Why you got to make it a little girl?
Yeah.
That's not okay.
No, to be fair, just, ghosts and supernatural stuff, they're the ones that get me most. I think they're the ones that freak me out. Like, you know when it's like horrors, it's just like, I don't know, some guy who's got a knife. Not like Michael Myers because he's a bit supernatural, but you know, like, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of a film. Scream. It's just a dude in a mask with a knife. And I can't help but watch those films and think, these guys getting killed are just idiots. Getting killed by some just nut job with a knife who's just like a normal dude. So they're the ones that just sort of piss me off. They don't scare me as much because I like to think, okay, I'll just run away from this person and not fall over, and I'll be fine.
You can't do that though. That's not allowed.
Or what I'll do is I will lock these doors when I get in my house, and then this normal guy can't break in, or if he starts to break in, I'll ring the police. They're the ones that don't get me as much.
Another good tip as well is when you go into a room, turn the fucking
lights
light on.
Yeah,
Turn the light
yeah,
on.
yeah. I mean, we'll come to Smile in a second, but that's just fucking ridiculous. You know, why anyone walks around in the pitch black
When you're already scared.
when you're already terrified of what's just happened to you? There's a fucking monster or a serial killer after you. What do you do when you walk in your house? No. I'm not going to turn all the lights on. I'm just going to go straight to the fridge to get a drink. And then just have the light from the fridge illuminate the silhouette of a fucking monster.
Let me tell you something. 99% of the time, there's something behind that fridge door when you close it. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And if it isn't there, it's when you look the other way because the double scare, as we just said. the double
Exactly.
jump.
Yeah. But it's the supernatural stuff that get me. Like the Conjuring films, they freak me out.
Yeah. Did you ever watch The Unborn?
No.
I was really quick because that's about a fucking kid ghost as well. No, go away. So, I don't know, the kid was maybe killed in the womb or something. I can't quite remember the film. I went to cinema to see it.
Unborn, makes sense.
But in that, there's a scene that stuck with me forever where she opens the medicine cabinet, shuts it, opens it again, and she's not looking, and she goes to grab something, and the little kid ghost is like all like crimpled up inside it, all like twisted. and
Okay.
Creepy as shit.
Yeah.
Reagan from Exorcist, that crab walk she does down the stairs, to this day still makes me feel a little bit sick.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's awful.
It is. I feel like, was it a Scary Movie that parodied that?
Yeah, they're playing the piano. She's just pissing herself
Yeah,
for like 5 minutes.
so I feel like that sort of shattered the illusion for me a little bit.
Fucking scary movies. They were brilliant to start off with.
Oh,
and
they were.
just-
They were like very much like a symptom of the time, like that sort of late 90s, early 2000s stupid parody stuff.
Yeah, and they just went ridiculous, didn't they? Like
Yeah.
the Spartan movie and
Yeah, they were all stupid, but Scary Movie 1 and 2 I quite like.
Oh, yeah,
like. But then
the Wayans brothers.
You had to grow up with them, I guess.
of course.
They wouldn't hold up now, I don't think.
Definitely not. Sweet. Anything else you want to discuss before we go on to talk about a film?
No, I suppose we could just so easy to talk about horror generally.
Just all
we could
the
do it.
time.
We could do it all day.
And I do love it, and I will probably end up watching more over the next few days because it's Halloween in 2 days.
It
Not for you
is.
guys, but for us guys, it is.
Yeah, it is. I've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre lined up, ready to go.
The
That's my next
original?
one. The original. I've never seen it. It's my next one to watch. I might watch it later, actually.
Yeah, do not think, oh, I've watched that. I'll just rewatch the new one on Netflix.
Yeah, I always
It's
try
the
and avoid
worst
that.
thing.
Yeah,
Actually, we could discuss that very quickly before we move on to the film. Is over the last few years, they've seemed to bring back all the originals. So they've done Texas Chainsaw,
yeah.
a new one, which was dog shit. Halloween, which we're going to discuss. Obviously, they've done a trilogy from that.
Yeah.
They've just redone Hellraiser, which apparently is actually quite good.
Okay.
Scream. They did another Scream with the original cast.
Yeah.
Courtney Cox and David Arquette and all that lot. You know what it was.
Mm.
For a film, it sat there and just took the piss out of itself and went,
Yeah.
well, we know the Scream films were, they're very 90s. Here we are again. It's us again. You know, jolly, whatever. It was actually all right.
Yeah.
Not scary, not anything. If you're a fan of the Scream films, very nostalgic, and it takes the piss out of itself a little bit of we know what we are. That's why you're watching us.
Yeah.
And I can respect a film that does that. Of we're not here to win Oscars. We're just here to give you what you liked back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Or whenever
That's
Scream
fair.
was. I'm trying to think, has there been anything else that's been remade recently of the classics?
Oh, it's hard to keep track, you know.
Yeah, obviously Freddy happened a few years ago, as we mentioned in the last episode, where they made him a paedophile.
Jason's not come back for a while.
Not for a long while.
Maybe a decade or so.
Yeah, he's
When was
gone
Freddy
away
v
for good.
Jason?
Oh, jeez, got that film a long time ago,
Yeah.
and it's dog shit.
Yeah,
That film
yeah.
is so bad, so unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, these horror is definitely a genre that creates franchises, isn't it? You know, you get one good horror film, and then suddenly it's a massive franchise. Saw, you know, Halloween, like you said, Friday the Nightmare on Elm Street.
But them films, I think you could get away with that in the 80s.
Yeah,
But just these, I mean, we saw what Saw was doing. Saw said we want to bring out. This is going to be the decade for Saw. We'll
Yeah.
bring a Saw film out every year for 10 years. you know what? Saw 1 was fucking
Saw 1 was
phenomenal.
great.
Saw 2 was good. I enjoyed the second one in that little house, and I've got this really weird thing with needles as well. And when they get thrown into
That pit of
into
needles.
oh
Yeah.
But then that's got ridiculous. And you know what? By the end of it, I mean, have you seen Spiral yet
No.
with Chris Rock? So he
Is that the
produced
spin-off
it.
of Saw?
So it's the newer one. He said he's bringing Saw back
Right.
and produced Spiral.
Okay.
Right, Chris Rock needs to go away with kid ghosts. he needs to be locked in a box and fucked off because I cannot stand him.
Right.
Honestly, I don't think he can act for shit.
Yeah.
His voice is annoying.
Yeah.
So why did you go, I'm going to produce a new Saw film because everyone isn't bored of that. I'm going to put myself in the lead role. No, Chris Rock. No, Chris Rock. Fuck off.
Just needs a slap, doesn't he?
He does. Do we know anyone? Yeah, it was. I watched it recently. The thing is, but I mean, I'd never pay for it. I waited for it to come on, whatever it was, Netflix, whatever it was. But I'll watch him, and they know that people like us will watch him because
People always go out and watch horror. People love
Yeah.
horror. It's a massive genre. They know it's a safe bet. Like you said, never going to win Oscars, but people will go see it.
like you and me and our friend Kanish, we're going to start watching horror films on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
The Psycho Sickos, big up.
The Psycho Sickos.
Big up the Psycho Sickos. So once a month or whatever, we'll be coming back with a new horror film that's probably dog shit.
Yeah.
But just to talk about it.
Yeah.
So speaking of dog shit, we went off to see Smile recently, didn't we?
We did. We took a little cinema trip, just the two of us.
We did indeed. I drove out to your place. I've never been before. I only come to meet your wife, if I'm honest.
Yeah, well.
So went round there. She made me pizza, banging,
Yeah.
and then we popped off to go at Smile, which we didn't pay for.
We didn't. Well, yeah. Use your Meerkat code and my unlimited.
I'm always down for that.
Yeah.
Always down for that. So do you want to get right? I'll tell you what. Give us the premise of Smile, Ryan.
Okay. Smile.
That's it. At the end.
Yeah. So Smile, it's a supernatural horror film where it starts off with a psychiatric doctor, would you say? Treats patients that come in off the street, and there's a girl right at the start. She's terrified that something's after her. She doesn't really explain it, and then she sees this something, and then starts freaking out. The doctor calls for help. As she turns around, the girl is smiling at her with this, to be fair, freaky smile, creepy smile, big grin, and then proceeds to slit her own throat in front of the doctor. And then, obviously, the doctor is freaked out, understandably. That was pretty brutal, actually. It was a fairly good start to the film, I thought.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we'd seen it pretty much from the trailer, to be fair, so we knew what was going to happen. But yeah, it's just freaky out. She was just smiling, slicing her own throat. There is something weird about people smiling at you.
Yeah.
Just like staring and smiling. It is unsettling.
Yeah.
Even in a non-horror context.
Yeah, why are you smiling? Why are you so happy?
Yeah.
It scares me that you're happy.
Fuck's your problem. Be miserable like the rest of us.
Yeah, what you got to be happy about,
bastards.
you prick.
Yeah.
In this day and age.
So, and then she proceeds to get haunted by this supernatural demon
Just makes people
creature
smile at her.
that she keeps seeing people smile at her. And then it's about her trying to uncover the mystery of what's going on and the trail of suicides. And yeah, I think that sums it
That's
up.
pretty much it. Yeah. So anyone that anyone that witnesses this smile monster make them kill themselves, then becomes haunted by them, and that's
then,
sort of premise.
Yeah, and then they'll kill themselves in front of someone else, and it keeps getting passed on.
Yeah.
It's sort of like you take on. We've seen it in quite a lot of horror films, haven't we? Like The Ring.
The Ring.
You watch. That's the
100%.
perfect example of like, you watch the videotape and then she's after you, and then someone else watches the video, gets passed it on to someone else, and then they're getting chased by this thing. So it's very similar.
Yeah, very very modern in the aspect of this is how most horror films go. The one thing I will say about this film, anyone that goes to watch it might say it's shit. You get what you get.
Absolutely.
It tells you on the tin what you're going to go get.
Yeah.
If that made you want to go to cinema to watch it, you're getting what it says on the tin.
Yep.
So don't moan because it gave you that. There was a couple of decent jump scares.
There were some good ones. Obviously, we'll not give spoilers away because it's still, I suppose, out. Well, it probably won't be by the time this episode
it
airs.
definitely won't be.
But the laptop one, that was a
Yeah.
good scare.
Very good
where
scare.
That, you know, so there was, like you said, you got exactly what it said on the tin.
Yeah.
It was a
Good acting. I think the main woman in it, I don't know her name, but
no, I've not seen her in anything before.
she genuinely looks terrified. And as the film goes on, the bags get more around her eyes. She's not sleeping. She looks more and more fucked up by the day. What we did say was, if you do watch Smile, Smile has a lot of people that look like other people in it. Don't
Yeah,
they?
yeah.
The whole film was like, isn't that? No, it's not.
It looks like every actor's been bought off Wish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Pedro Pascal's Wish character.
Yeah.
It's, but it was okay. Like, I left the cinema satisfied.
Yeah,
Horror,
yeah,
standard.
It did exactly what I said. If you want a half decent horror with some decent acting, few jumps, bit of a supernatural twist, then
Exactly.
then that's that. So
And you've seen horror films before, so you a bit like what you just said there, Ryan. The Ring. You've seen before. Something gets very scary. Something's haunting you. So I need to find out what it is.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
only thing about this Smile is you're kind of watching it going, well, how can you figure out? That was a bit, to me, I was a bit like, well, I'm not sure how you're going to figure this out.
No.
So I think they did well in making a bit of
create a
story
story
behind that,
to it. Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's a hard thing to do. What I did like about this, I don't know if you saw it online, they had people go to baseball games, football games, all this in America, wearing Smile t-shirts and just stand the whole time with a freaky smile on their face for
Okay.
the whole game. And that was how they were doing promo like that.
That's cool.
So like the camera would zoom in and it's just someone with that creepy smile with the smile thing on. They'd just stand there the whole game.
That must have been
Piss off.
exhausting.
I know, could you imagine? Fucking hell, I struggled to smile for 5 minutes.
I know.
you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. There was just certain horror tropes, I guess you'd say, like that pissed me off. Like we said about it earlier, you know, she's just witnessed this horrific murder, like suicide, sorry, and she goes home, you know, understandably freaked out, wants to have a drink, goes to the fridge, turns on no lights in the house. She's absolutely terrified, seeing these freakish things everywhere. So why would you just stand in the fucking dark?
And she's seen a lot of freaky things at this point. It's not just the murder. She's looking
Yeah.
outside. She keeps seeing the girl that murdered herself. She's seeing people smile at her.
And so, come on, love, I'd have every single light on in the
Every
house.
light. I won't go home.
No, all the lamps are on, all the lights are on, a million candles are on. Literally, I am basically turning my living room into the sun. You know?
Exactly.
But, and then also, she goes to have a drink.
Don't.
Oh, this kid, I don't know why. Every
really annoying.
time she goes for a drink, she gets her wine bottle and a little, like, I don't know, like tumbler glass and pours in the equivalent of like a shot.
A single whiskey.
A single whiskey, but it's white wine.
Exactly.
Like, no one pours that little amount of white wine in a glass. And then she proceeds to sort of like down it all in one and then goes to refill it. It's like, what are you doing, love?
It pissed me off because, you know what, if you're going to do that, use single malt or
Yeah.
a bourbon and
Yeah,
Smith.
yeah, yeah.
Because that's what we expect in American
Not a
film.
fucking little Chardonnay.
Exactly. Fucking the whole time. Because when I first noticed it, the second time she did it, I did that slow turn to you as you were doing the slow turn to me. And I was like, oh, he's there. He gets
Yeah,
it.
it's just ridiculous. I think just one of the shots of her, like her hands shaking so she could clink the glasses together, like as she pours this
That's all it
drink
was, yeah.
really nervously and then drops the glass. It's like, well, you probably wouldn't drop the glass if you just poured one drink.
You twat.
You twat. Fucking have your hands are shaking. Drink through a straw. Stupid fucking bin. Other than that, yeah, pretty decent.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. A couple of tropes like that, but other than that, I mean, when you do eventually see the Smile Monster, very basic, nothing overly scary about it.
No.
Nothing to write home about. But
No.
yeah, it is what it is. If you enjoy just a standard bullshit horror, I'd definitely say watch it. It's going to be out before you know it. It always is. Horrors come out quite quick, don't they? On your streaming site. So definitely say give that a go. So yeah, that was Smile. It's not in the cinema anymore because it's December now, I'm assuming, by the time this comes out.
The Christmas films are out. So we'll review these. And you can listen to them next July.
Ah, shit, we need to talk about Nightmare Before Christmas now, don't we?
I love that film.
Banging film. Okay, so what we did was went to the cinema, but we also thought it'd be quite nice for the people that don't like to go to cinema or just haven't got the time to maybe just watch a Netflix one.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a bit of Netflix, just stream one. And I was like, right, what do we need? We just need a decent classic horror film.
Yeah.
So we found a film called A Classic Horror Story and went, well, may as well do that, haven't we?
Yeah. Ticks all the boxes straight away.
It ticks all the boxes. So we was debating between that and a film called Old People, and I watched Old People and text Ryan saying, don't watch Old People. Just do A Classic Horror Story because this other one's shit.
Yeah.
So A Classic Horror Story is a 2021 Netflix film. It's Italian, if I remember right.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And it's about 5 people sort of traveling through South Italy, wherever they're going. They're sort of carpooling. One of the dickheads in there has been drinking, jumps behind the wheel and smashes the car. They all get knocked out in the crash, come around in the big Winnebago type thing that they're in, and they're just in the middle of the woods. So they've crashed on a road. They're now in the middle of the woods. They've got no idea how they got there. There's nothing around them but a forest and this creepy, culty looking cabin in the middle of the woods is all that's there. And from there, it just becomes a bit of a survival thing, a survival film. They've all got to try to survive. People are picked off quick in this film.
Yeah, they don't mess around, do they?
No, people are picked off very quick. Is it worth spoiling this film, really?
I think we spoil it.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters. I mean, I'll see what you think about it in a minute. I didn't hate it. But it turns very quickly from this survival type horror that is quite creepy. You know, they keep telling this story about these 3 tree gods or whatever they are, and one's got no tongue, one's got no eyes, one's not got this or whatever.
Yeah, no ears, I think it is.
Yeah, and then this massive cult are turning up and clamping people's eyes out and cutting people's tongues out, and it's all quite
sort of like
gory.
quite culty, isn't it? Like sacrificing to the old gods type sort of vibe.
And I'm down for that. Like that's my type of thing. And then it goes from there to the Italian mafia. You're gonna have to help me out here, right?
It's like, it was a bit weird. So basically, what happens is, if you don't want spoilers, then just stop listening now. But it turns into like, it's all like an elaborate ploy, and they're actually one of the guys who's with the group is actually in on it the whole time. He's set it all up, and he's like not the one that made them crash and drugged them all and stuff. And he's part of this group that are actually, he's filming the whole thing. And he's basically filming and turning these murders into like a real life horror film.
Yeah, so a bit snuffy, isn't it?
Like a snuff film. So it's like an elaborate horror film. And it's weird because like they've got one girl left and she's watching this. She finds out this unveiling and then actually he's in on it. And the girl that they saved halfway through, she's in on it. And it's all supposed to be a big shock that it's actually, these weird snuff film.
Yeah, because so the whole point is that they are the Italian mafia.
Yeah.
And that the mafia doesn't have any power really anymore. So I didn't really get it. Are the tree gods real?
I don't think so. I think that was just all part of this horror film to make it like a horror film. So I imagine they'll do that. They'll create this one and it'll be called, I don't know, whatever they call it.
Well, they called it a classic
horror story, yeah. And then they'd capture some more people and then they'd create a different story. So I think they're just using that. The whole cult thing was just a ploy, like a plot line to make it look like an actual horror.
As films go, what I did quite like is because obviously that whole, snuff film, it brings up exactly as you would watch Netflix. So the same sound, the same logo and everything, but they watch it. So basically they go on the Onion website, which is your way of getting on the dark web. They load up what's called Bloodflix, but it's got the exact same logo as Netflix, the same sound, and they start watching A Classic Horror Story. Done as if they'd just filmed it. I thought that was actually I like that as an ending.
That was quite a cool ending. Yeah, it was like Bloodflix, like a snuff version of Netflix.
Yeah. What did you think to the film?
It was average. I feel like it started off, your standard, your stereotypical horror film, as in like a group of strangers, they get stranded in the woods, don't know what's going off, they get picked off.
Their own stories.
Yeah, they start getting picked off one by one, and they're sort of making throwaway links to like horror films throughout. So it's almost like, self-deprecating humor in a lot of ways, isn't it? Like, it's just like a horror film and all this. And it's like, and I felt like that was okay because it's sort of, they're trying to make fun of themselves, but then equally, the things that they're making fun of themselves were the reasons why it was still shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, it's like we've been stuck. Like it's like, oh, we're stuck in the woods. It's just like a horror film. It's like, ha, 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 ha.
It is a horror
but
film.
it is a horror film. That's exactly what we're watching. You fucking morons. So it was okay. Like there's some cool moments in it.
Yeah.
I felt like the deaths weren't satisfying enough. That's a weird, freaky thing to say.
Yeah, I think what they did quite well is so the death of the first mate boy, because they didn't go overly gory to start off with.
No.
So the death of the first guy, they pin him down, they put this weird clamp on his head that basically removes his eyeballs.
Yeah.
But you don't see it. It's
No.
the whole, you see the thing go to his eye, so it's nearly touching.
Yeah.
Then the surroundings, and then they start cranking it again, and it's
Yeah.
blood-curdling screams, and, you know, you picture you going to the people that are watching it or kind of looking through the cracks and watching it. I thought, okay, cool. They're trying to avoid the gore. I like this. Then they kind of completely ignore that in the next one and remove people's eyes and someone's tongue, and
Yeah.
it just it's kind of like pick one,
But like,
be gory or don't.
I know. And then like when I think there's the girl they had her pinned up and they were slicing her eyes out as well at like the altar. And she's
Yeah.
really giving a very half-arsed scream. I'm sorry, but if someone's cutting my eyes out with a fucking kitchen knife, you're going to be hearing me like 5 miles away.
Well,
like,
come here, let's try it.
screaming Yeah, with the pen. But she's sort of like, this is really painful. Like, come on.
Come on, mate. But I don't know, up until that point where, because again, the main woman, the one who survives the whole way through, I thought she was pretty good.
Yeah.
And when she's, it kind of, what's the film where she gets raped and then she gets revenge on him? I Spit on Your Grave.
Yes.
It gave me very I Spit on Your Grave vibes.
Yeah.
After that, she's fucked up. She's been stabbed through the hands. She's covered in blood. She's out for revenge. I quite liked that. I thought, she's quite good. It just got a bit weird.
Yeah.
Up to that point, I'm down for it. Cults again, mate.
Yeah.
Cults again, I'm down.
It's your jam.
Yeah, it's my jam. So I was like, okay, this is going to be a standard good horror. It just got a bit weird.
Yeah.
And I just didn't. Then I got a bit confusing because I have seen this film before. It obviously wasn't that memorable because I didn't remember I'd seen it.
Yeah.
So I was kind of half watching it and half, doing the washing and stuff. And I missed something because then I got confused because I was like, well, are the gods real? What did I miss? And I've seen this. It's the second time I've seen it. So
Yeah.
it's not that memorable. But all in all, it's all right.
It's all right,
It's
yeah.
just a very weird twist. They would have kept with the original storyline.
Yeah.
I'd probably been more about it. And been
I
like
think the
standard.
same. Yeah, they tried to put a twist on it.
Yeah.
Which was okay. It wasn't as satisfying.
No.
I think, like you said, if they just stuck with the cult thing and actually sacrificing people, and then they had to try and escape the cult, I think that would have been a bit better.
Yeah, 100%. And I love that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So the only other thing, we're coming up to 55 minutes. You did go to the cinema to see Halloween Ends.
Yeah, the new Halloween film.
We thought we'd say this to last, as if we was going to fit it in, because there's not much to say about it, as I hear that everyone I know has seen it. So did you want to just give a quick update of how bullshit that film is?
It's very bullshit. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a huge Halloween fan. Like, I've seen the original one quite a few times, which is a classic, and that is a great film, and that still holds up today. John Carpenter, the music, it's iconic. Mike Myers, but it works for all the right reasons. Like we said before, it's the creepiness. There's hardly any jump scares. There's not a lot of gore really, but I don't know. It's just one of those films. Like, it's turned into a mega franchise. I don't even know how many films there are. 8 or 9.
So
I think there was the first 4. Was there?
Right. Okay. So there's 4 or 5. Then there's H2O.
H2O.
Then there's the remake,
The Rob
by
Zombie
Rob
one.
Zombie. Then these 3.
Was there Halloween 2 as well as like a remake as a second one? A second one to the Rob Zombie one.
Was there?
I don't know if Rob Zombie only did 1.
I'm sure I heard this on a podcast yesterday. I'm sure there was 12
Yeah.
maybe. But throughout all of them, there's 5 or 6 different timelines
Right.
that are all different from one another. It's a bit much.
Yeah.
So there's 12 films with 5 or 6 different timelines
it's
that
just-
none of them really match
Exactly.
up. And
And that was the thing. Like, I came into this film like, obviously I went with a couple of friends. They'd seen it before, the ones prior to this, building up to it, and I hadn't. But I came into this thinking, I know pretty much know the premise. You know, it's been the same since the 70s, really. It's Mike Myers. He's after Jamie Lee Curtis. He's trying to kill her. Laurie Strode, yeah, trying to kill her like he has been doing for 50 years now. And that was all the prep I needed, really.
Yeah.
But it's just a weird film. Like, obviously, you go to watch a Halloween film for Mike Myers, don't you, really?
Absolutely.
You know, he is the main character. He is the iconic character. And he rocks up very late into the film. He's this half-dead version of himself living in the sewers. And it's all about this guy, who, like this new character they've introduced. And don't get me wrong, the opening scene of the film was great. You know, he's babysitting on Halloween night. You know, the town's freaked out because of, like, obviously Mike Myers has been killing them all since the 50s. And it's quite spooky, and it's got those throwbacks, you know, like the big American house, and then like it's all horrific, and the kid, spoiler alert, but the kid dies, and then he gets blamed for killing him. But
spoiler alert, you didn't give a shit about spoiling that, did you, mate?
Like, it's literally the first 5 minutes of the film. Don't go watch the film anyway. But then, like, the whole film is like him as this outcast, this guy, the babysitter, and then he basically becomes knockoff Mike Myers, and then starts working with the original Mike Myers to go kill people. And it's just shit gore. Like, it's gore for the sake of it. There's no jump scares, really. It's turns into the first 45, 50 minutes, it's just like this weird romance film between this kid and Laurie's granddaughter, who's also troubled. And, you know, these two outcasts find each other, and they're going to run away. But before they run away, he needs to kill everyone. And then Mike Myers comes into it right at the end, and then it's just shit dialogue. You know, they fight him to the death, and finally put an end to it all, because Halloween ends as they end with a shot of the Mike Myers mask on a table, which very much made me think, you're not ending shit here, are you?
You've tried to do 5-6 times before.
Someone's going to come back as him. So it was poor. It was very poor. To say it was like the film that was supposed to end the franchise, I would have thought they'd try and end on like a high note.
Especially with what they did with that trilogy as well, of we're coming back, ignore everything after one.
Yeah.
Right, we fucked this, Fairs, and you know what? I 100% respect that.
Absolutely.
We've fucked up. We've gone too far out here. You know, the lights of bloody Season of the Witch and shit like that. That was really bad. Fairs, we fucked up. This is what we think you want to see. And actually, Halloween, the first one of that trilogy, was good.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah,
you know,
I heard good things about it.
It was what it was. It was, you know, it was them two going back at it. Fair play. Yeah, I'm down for that. Never bothered with Halloween Kills because I didn't hear great stuff. And, you know, if you're looking at the IMDb sort of ratings as well, they just get worse and worse. I think Halloween was like 6 point something, then it went down to like 5.1, then it's 4 point something.
Yeah.
And you just think,
I mean, that's bad.
Just, if anything, just do Halloween and stop. Do you know what I mean? Like, just do that one Halloween film and then boom, sorted.
Yeah.
This is what you wanted. We've given you it. Everyone probably walks away and been like, okay, sound.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think that came out, what is it, 3 years ago, maybe? The same month that Venom did.
Right.
And I think it was only Venom that sort of knocked that off being the number one box office.
Okay.
Because everyone was going to see it. And so they did all right from that one film. But again, money talks, doesn't it?
It does.
And that's when they're going to be like, oh, hey, this made some money. Let's see where we can go from it. Oh, you don't have to. You know, just... But unfortunately, if they're going to keep making money, you're going to, aren't you? If you have to troll out shit, then that's what they do. They'll end it now.
Yeah, they don't care.
In 10 years' time, probably bring it back.
They'll bring me back as a remake or a rebranding or something. Because, like I said, money talks, unfortunately. And horror is the one that always gets shafted.
Yes, absolutely. So that's another episode in the bag, my friend. Episode 2, chatted a bit of horror, chatted a bit of gaming.
Ate some great snacks today as well.
We had some fantastic pickled onion crisps.
I know. Sorry for the listeners that have had to listen to me eat throughout the episode.
I'm not sorry.
No, great.
I've enjoyed listening to you.
There's so many more left in the bag.
I know. So episode 3 in 2 weeks' time, that we're definitely not recording straight after this. We're still eating crisps. Oh, a new bag of crisps. So once again, guys, if you enjoyed listening, please share with family and friends, get other people to listen in. Please interact with us on social medias. So if you don't already like us, follow us, please go follow us. But get into conversation. Tell us your favorite horrors. Please give us some recommendations for films you've seen. We're always down for that.
And snack recommendations.
And snack recommendations, 100%. And yeah, so please, 5 stars us, like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff on social media. It really, really, really does help. And as much as we're just doing this for a bit of fun and to enjoy it with everyone, we would like to do more. And the more people we can reach, the more we can do it.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right. So episode 2 in the bag, my friend. I will see you in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Peace
Take it
out,
easy.
homie.